So this is about fasting and the connection with spirituality in fasting. Hopefully this will help. And I talked about it somewhat last night, which kind of started this little group. We're starting on Thursday, the 14th, which is good because if you decide that you can only do 18 hours, that's good. See, this is not a competition. The only person you're competing is with yourself. And I'm going to tell you, the first 3 days of fasting is a bitch. It's a bitch. It's like, I don't know, it's like an exorcism. I'm not kidding. It's very, very difficult, okay? Just so you know. For some of you, it may not be difficult. So don't make what I'm saying your reality. Because for some of you, it might be, wow, that was easy. Let me extend. I can tell you that if it's easier for me, I will extend it. I will extend it for as long as I can. If I can do it for 11 days, fantastic. If I can do it for whatever. And the reason why we pick Thursday is because Thursday, you're going towards the end of the week. Then you got Friday. You got to just pull through Friday. And then you can just totally rest and take a lot of resting and just puttering around the house on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. You may even want to do a massage, schedule yourself a massage for lymphatic drainage, a Swedish massage, something very, very nice, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, with your favorite oils. Buy yourself an oil you love so you're not dealing with something you hate the smell of or there's no smell. You want something that makes you happy. And then you can break it on Sunday night at 9 p.m., okay? Because we're stopping on Wednesday, the 13th, you stop eating at 9 p.m., and by Thursday at 9 p.m., you've just hit 24 hours. You know what I mean? And it just goes. So by Sunday at 9 p.m., you're on your third day, right? Thereabouts. And then you go right into it. And if you want to, we're going to be breaking it Monday morning. And the reason I'm doing that is that people who are going back to work, in an office environment, can have a nice breakfast of asparagus. If you guys are meat eaters, I wouldn't do boiled eggs. I wouldn't do shit like that. I would not break it with an animal protein at all. I would take it easy. I really would. I would do, like I said, asparagus, steamed vegetables, and have some more steamed vegetables for your lunch. And then by I don't know, if you guys are really insisting on going back to the egg thing or whatever, then do it at night. One boiled egg. And then keep adding more and more structure to your steamed vegetables. Like, for example, I wouldn't go for starch like rice. I would just go for maybe potato as a starch. And so it's easy on your stomach. And then you're not going to, believe me, if you think you're going to be back in eating bacon and eggs, you definitely don't want to do that, okay, at all. In fact, don't do any bacon. But what I would do, and this would be very easy on your stomach, and it's an old French recipe where you beat your eggs, right, for an omelet, but you do it on a double boiler. And so instead of cooking it directly in the pan, you do butter if you want. I would do not macadamian butter, excuse me. I would do goat butter if you can find it. If not, there's a butter called Miyakos. You can buy it in most Trader Joe's stores or Whole Foods or health food stores or alternative stores. And so the Miyakos, because it's a cashew butter, it's an easy butter. And on a double boiler, stir your eggs so that they're very softly scrambled with some tarragon, some, fresh or dried tarragon. And if you need an animal protein, that kind of way of preparing it will be very easy on your belly. It will be very gentle on your belly. Okay, and that's how I would introduce animal protein. Okay, so again, you would do 1 or 2 eggs. You scramble it. You do it on a double boiler, meaning one saucepan, that you're going to use over a boiling water. And you're doing it very gently. You'd be surprised at how light the eggs are. You probably might become your favorite way of doing eggs, by the way, moving forward. But at least with tarragon, the tarragon's going to give you it's an amazing herb. I think very few people know how to use it or use it in eggs, but it's a very classic French way to do it. And when people are sick, that's how they make eggs, through over a double boiler. So if you don't have one, all you need is a smaller pot over a bigger pot. It's not complicated, and you'll be fine. That's how I would break it on the second day. But I'm excited that we're all going to fast, because I've been really struggling on fasting, and I'll fast like intermittent fasting for like 18 hours, and then I can't, and but because I'm accountable, and you're going to be accountable, we're going to be accountable to each other, because we can post, on when we finish each day. I ask you to post on the fasting bulletin that I've set up, and just put past did it, 24 hours, did it. And don't be ashamed if you broke it. Fine. If you broke it, it's all good. And how did you break it? And go ahead and type in how you broke it. Make sure you try to break it in the best way. Like, don't go for pizza until, I don't know, if you want a pizza because you're like losing your mind. You can have one maybe on the third or fourth day, Make sure to buy fresh oranges. I hope you have a juicer. The fast can be water. I just posted on the bulletin what you're going to do with the water. It's either pure water, which I'm not doing. I'm personally doing lemon juice, 32-ounce container with lemon juice, 1 or half a lemon, cayenne, which would be 2 dashes of cayenne in the water, and a very small amount, like almost a quarter teaspoon, half teaspoon, quarter teaspoon of honey dissolved in the water. And for me personally, I'm going to do grated ginger. I try to get as much juice of the ginger when I grate it on a cheese grater. Some of it, there are fibers of it. It doesn't bother me. It's still not eating, in my opinion, but it's going to help soothe my gut, because ginger is such a healing, system. I mean, there's something about ginger. As a matter of fact, you can do ginger packs if your back hurts, your joint hurts. You grate ginger, you put it in a cotton cloth, and you put it like a poultice, and you will put it on your knee or wherever your joints are hurting, and you'll find that once it starts burning, it actually is where you are most in pain, and it will be like a poultice, and you leave it there, and it actually helps with the inflammation. I'm not joking. This is an old thing that my mother taught me. It's extraordinary. On the side note, let's see. Is water the only thing we can drink during? No, actually, you can actually do a juice. You can do, like apple, beets, or cucumber, apple, beets, and celery, whatever the hell you want, okay? But don't go too crazy on fruit and make it more vegetable. So lots of celery, lots of cucumber. If you do that kind of combination with some apple, like one big apple to all of the being cucumber and celery, you're going to find you're going to pee like crazy. And it's going to actually help with your kidneys. You might also want to do a couple of the asparagus in the juicer. Believe it or not, it may not taste great, but the apple should help with that. Also, put in a piece of ginger in your juicer. So do the ginger first, and then put in the rest of your vegetables. Because if you do the ginger last, it won't be able to be grated correctly. I'm just letting you know from what I've learned on my own. The reason why I'm doing water, the water, like I said, not just plain water. Plain water, to be honest, is probably the best. But I caution you to doing just plain water, because the toxins that are going to come out it could be fucking intense. And I'd rather you did juices, honestly. You can go to Trader Joe's and get some juices, green juices and stuff. Make sure there's not a lot of sugar. Just make sure it's just juice that's been pressed in a bottle. But if you don't have a juicer at home, then go to Trader Joe's. They have some huge containers sometimes of green, and don't get green smoothie. Though if that's what you want and it's your first time juicing, fasting like that, then do that. But don't go crazy, okay? If you really need something hot, really, really need something hot, I would suggest the way you can sweeten herb teas without honey. I would suggest stay away from the honey. The only reason why we're doing a little bit of honey in the water, for example, is to keep your glucose going. Some people, like my son's one, where he can totally pass out and like perish, lose his life, because he's hypoglycemic, and if he doesn't get sugar, he starts shaking. So if that's you, the apple juice mixed with the cucumber and celery should help you with the glucose, right? What else? Again, you check with your doctor or nutritionist or chiropractor. Make sure that you can do this, because the problem with doing pure water is that if you've never fasted in your life, if you've never done colonics and enemas, the level of toxins coming out are intense and you'll have massive headaches. So if this is your first ever doing it, like I wouldn't do water, pure water, not at all. I would go right into some of the options I've given you. I've been having colonics since I was 14, off and on. Do you know what I'm saying? So I've been a vegetarian for a long time, longer than I've been eating meat, for example. So the levels of toxins aren't going to be as intense. See what I'm saying? So just know your audience, which is your body. Know your body. Understand, okay, I've never done this before. I've never done that. Things of that nature. So let me keep it easy and let me just do vegetable juices. There's nothing wrong with it. I remember my mom doing 10 days, and I mentioned it before in a live. She did 10 days of vegetable juices, and she looked absolutely the most beautiful I've ever seen her in my entire life. It's actually, how old was I when I saw her do that? Yeah, I was 14. I just remember. It was around the same time. And that's when we started going for colonics. We would go to colonics. She'd have all of us on a colonics program. and it started at 14. We were doing yoga. She was on this incredible health. Now, let's talk about the spiritual aspect of this, okay? Meat eaters do broths. Keep it light. Always worth. But do broths, not meat broths, please, okay? This whole bone broth bullshit, no offense, but not okay. If you are on a spiritual journey of ascension, you do not want to do bone broth, okay? If you're going to do broth, which is a potage, what you do is you'll take rosemary, you'll take thyme and parsley, and you'll bunch it up and you'll boil it, or you don't have to, with carrots. Carrots if you want leeks, and what else? Carrots, leeks, and celery. You boil all of that. You do not grind it. You do not make a potage. What you're doing is a consommé, which is a broth. You strain the whole bit and you're drinking that broth. If you want to put some Celtic salt in it, absolutely no problem. And go ahead and do that. Or amino acids in it, no problem. But that would be a good broth to prepare. Personally, I'm not that chic in doing all of that. What I'm doing is just the water for me, because I really need to slam my body into a new calibrated reality, because I'm not happy. I haven't been taking care of myself for like 2-3 years on that level. The last time I fasted was last year. It was five days with my twin, and to be honest, it wasn't. I needed to do 10. So if I do 3 days or 4 days of water, I might extend it to as long as I can. The spiritual aspect of it. So, as I mentioned in the last live last night. You can't quantify the spiritual aspect of it, especially when you're doing it like on the full moon, or you're doing it when there's some kind of like, for example, I've done fasts during eclipses. I've done fasts for spiritual reason, like, for example, to pray for peace or whatever, right through the fast. People didn't know why I was fasting. I never, announced it. Okay, it was a personal connection with me and God, if you will, to fast. To meditate, to go within, and to spend a lot of time journaling and meditating and connecting with my guides when I was really on some beautiful fasts. Some fasts were just fun, where when my twin was alive, me and my twin would make love a lot, because there was, we were like, fuck, I'm hungry. Yeah, let's make love. So we would have fun, and we'd go power walking and stuff like that. So I intend to, it's really cold where I live and this and that. And with my twin, I would go on power walks. But when you're fasting during colder months, if you have a treadmill, I have a treadmill. I got the Lichico, whatever the fuck it's called. It's actually fucking good. Believe it or not. Really, really good. I should actually post it for you guys, and if you want, I will. But it is a good treadmill. So I would say power walk. If you power walk, 45 minutes is about 2.5 miles. I know this because I've been doing that exact sum for years. So I remember what it was. And 45 minutes of brisk walking would get you, it takes 45 minutes. Okay. I'm not looking for 10,000 steps. I'm looking for brisk 45 where I'm actually sweating. My heart is pumping, and that's it. And that is it. Okay. If you want to do some yoga stretching, child pose, downward dog, stretch to the west, things of that nature, like very gentle things to your body, or some Pilates moves, whatever. stretching of your spine, the cobra, things of that nature. Yeah, that's cool. If you want to lift weights in Russia, they have the cobra, things of that nature. Yeah, that's cool. If you want to lift weights in Russia, they have a clinic. It's a water fasting clinic, only water fast. And you can actually write to the government, apparently, this whatever, the health government, and say, look, I want to fast for weight loss. I want to fast because I have this concern, whatever the concern is. And they will send you to this clinic. And every day they do a blood test to make sure that your toxins aren't going to be dangerous, right, on high levels. And they lift little weights. So if you have dumbbells and you want to do some weight, a little bit of weightlifting, that's good to go. What else? You might, if this is your first time fasting, like I said, I would suggest just doing fruit. A good, not a lot of fruit, but mostly vegetable. A good, really good book on water fast, just to make you excited and so forth. It's called Rational Fasting by Arnold Ehret. I think Ehret is spelled Ehret, Arnold, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's called Rational Fasting. The other book that's really, really good is called The Tao, the Tao meaning Tao, The Tao of Detox. And I believe that's written by Daniel Reed. And again, it's called The Tao of Detox. That would be these two books would be great companions, Rational Fasting and the Tao of Detox, so that you can get inspired. I would send you to that beautiful video, a documentary that was called Fasting, which was all based in Russia. But you may want to go watch a lot of Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dying. That's a good documentary that will really encourage you to continue, to be honest. And I was just thinking to myself for the past 3 days that I need to fast. That is so cool. So it must be something in the air. Lemon water, celery juice, watermelon juice. Yes, absolutely, Rachel. That's a great idea. Lemon water, celery juice, and watermelon. There you go. And that, you can't beat celery and cucumber and things of that nature. But the ginger, it might have a bite to it, but you're drinking it for health. You're not drinking it for nectar, okay? And it might be intense in your belly, and that means your belly needs it, or else it wouldn't heat up in your belly. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? You can also do ginger tea, right? And so I'm excited because I really needed a partnership to help me fast, because honestly, my son cooks French fries and shit like that. And then I'll be smelling, I'll fast for like 18 hours, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to fast today. And then I'll eat, and then I'll smell the French fries, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And he'll make something fantastic, like eggplant parmesan or something like that. And I'm losing my mind. So this will help me, to be honest with you. You guys are helping me out. And that I have to like report back as well. So my intention during this fast is to do the best I can with the water. I'm not looking forward to it, but I know I need to face myself, my demons. It's going to feel like an exorcism. Believe me, it's a fight between the ego. It's a fight between the somatic body just rebelling. And it's like you wrestling your demons, basically. And my twin used to be able to do fast, like on a dime. Boom, he'd fast. He'd make me meals. Whole fucking meals that were amazing, fasting. And usually he would start his fast 2 days before me. And after a while, I was like, I can't have you cooking for me. What the fuck is going on here? I'll start fasting with you. And I'd usually be 2 to 3 days behind him, and I'd start fasting. And then we'd go for like 7 days, 9 days. And he would go 9 and I would go 7. Because obviously he was ahead of me by 2 days, depending, right? So there's something about fasting together. And what it does to you spiritually, and I mentioned it, and I'll mention it again, is I remember one of the best fasts I in memory, because it was a spiritual connection, is I fasted on the ginger, water, cayenne, and in 32 ounces of water with a little bit, like a quarter teaspoon of honey, just to keep my glucose going. And I remember power walking, like I told you, 45 minutes, sweating like a pig, just moving fast, and looking at the trees. And suddenly I was seeing like sacred geometry patterns, like an overlay I wasn't passing out. I didn't see stars. I wasn't blacking out. It was just, I started seeing things. It was almost like the veils were parting. It was amazing. My first fast I ever did as a kid, I was about 18 and a half. I did a 10-day fast, which was Dr. Bragg's. And it was using distilled water, lemon juice, and a tiny bit of honey. Again, a tiny bit of honey. Some people use molasses. Some people use maple syrup. But it's a tiny bit, okay? You should barely taste anything. It's just to keep your glucose going. Some people put Celtic salt. I don't think it's a bad idea to keep everything, your electrolytes going. But if you're drinking a lot of water, and I know that there are people that also, and my twin used to do that dry fast. I'm not a fan of it at all. Though I know that there are benefits to that, but I am probably one person that should not do a dry fast because I've always been a water drinker. I drink water. It's one of the reasons why my skin, I've got pretty good skin, or I had pretty good skin up until now, probably. But so, because for me, water is king, you know? What else can I tell you? Yeah. So I started seeing these incredible geometric patterns, and the leaves were on the trees were glowing. It was amazing. And it wasn't just a few seconds of seeing it. It was the whole time I was walking in the woods. It's what I was experiencing. And my nervous system got really like so relaxed. And I was by 9 p.m. I was in bed sleeping like a baby. And I'd wake up refreshed by 6 a.m., like completely energized, like literally jumping out of bed with all this power and energy. And the only reason I stopped to fast on the 11th day is my twin said, it's time for you to, you gotta stop. You're good. You've done enough. When you have bothersome things happening to you, like you have a boil or you have a pain. One of the things I had been suffering for a long time was a pain under my left side of underneath my rib, very, very painful for years. And on the 7th day, it was gone and it never returned ever. To this day, it's never come back. So the Tao of Detox, Daniel talks about the fact that when you fast, whatever ills or whatever issues you have on this, it takes 7 days for it to kick out. Now he's talking about a water fast, but I think that there's a lot of benefits with fasting in general, you know? So it's really up to you what you want to do. I do dry fast 48 to 72 hours. No, I think it's beneficial. I really do. I know that my twin used to dry fast for 48 to hours. And when I saw his lips literally cracking and chapping and looking like he was at death's door, I mean, I would say, look, it's time. You got to just drink. Come on, dude, stop, okay? And he would stop. But I do know that there's benefits because it eats up the fat and it eats up, it cannibalizes anything that's fucked up in your body. So I think dry fasting for some people is good. If you're new to fasting, you may want to do, you want to ease into it. So again, watch the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dying. It's a great documentary. So again, watch the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dying. It's a great documentary. So again, watch the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dying. It's a great documentary. The other documentary that I would suggest you watch, if you can find it, is called Eating the Sun. Now, I'm not asking you to be a breatharian, okay? That's not, but I want you to watch things that will inspire you, that will go, yeah, yeah. You know, I want you to feel like pumped. And so Eating the Sun is another documentary that's really interesting. Let me hear, has anybody seen that? Okay, how can you do this fast when water makes me nauseous and gives me acid? So do a juice fast. Okay, do a juice fast if you want. And I'm not a doctor, so if you can't do it, ask your doctor how to do it. Or go to alternative healers and whatever's out there. Chiropractors also talk, you know, there's some wonderful chiropractors out there who also offer all kinds of alternative ways of healing and so forth. And so I'm not talking to you as a doctor, nor am I giving you medical advice. Disclaimer, you're all grown-ass adults, you know what to do. But I can tell you eating McDonald's is definitely not the answer, nor is eating and eating and eating. And the fasting for me, because I've got to lose some weight, get in shape. I'm looking to do a lot of hiking and shit like that next year, a lot of exploration of other countries. So I need to be fit, powerful, and strong. And also, I used to fast while lifting weights at the gym when I was in shape. And I'm totally not in shape. I'm completely out of shape for many reasons, which I won't go into because this is not the conversation. This is a conversation about how to get in shape. And so one of the things that is true about lifting weights, believe it or not, is that you can actually lift weights and heavy weights while you're fasting. So, however, if you're new to fasting, right, if this is your first rodeo, none of what I'm talking about do I want you to do. I want you to be gentle. I want you to ease in. And then eventually, you'll have your first 3-4 day fast. Then after that, maybe you have another one in December, right? And if you guys want to do it, let me know. Hit me up and we'll do it together again in December before Christmas. Maybe we'll extend it by one more day. But if you quit on the first day, you're not quitting, right? Like, don't beat yourself up. Congratulate yourself that you've done 24 hours, right? If you make it to 2 days, congratulate yourself that you made it to 48 hours. This is not a competition with any of us. It's a competition with yourself. It's to see how you can stretch yourself to the max for you. And that could, for you, it could be even an intermittent fast of 18 hours, to be honest. Okay? So does that answer your question? Yardur. Okay? So I'm not telling you to fast if your body goes through that. Day 2, you feel great. Accountability partners. That's what I'm looking for. Kids be ruining our diet. So true. I did a 90-day juice cleanse once. It was life-changing. I can't even imagine. I've been like, love ginger tea. Me too. I did a 90-day juice cleanse once. It was life-changing. I bet it was. I know of a guy who's like he's like 84. He owns a lunch truck in Albany, New York. And believe it or not, he'll do 45 to 50 to 60 day fasts on juice. Don't get me wrong, on juice. But he will make sandwiches for people all day long, right? And he's fasting. That's a massive discipline. And he's 84 and he's fit. And then he'll put on the weight. He'll put on like 20 pounds extra, but he does lift weights. He's still lifting weights. And I got to give him kudos. And it was my twin that turned him on to fasting. All these old guys, all these old timers, all these hippie dudes, with their long hair down to their ass were, going into Sanskrit mantras. They were dropping acid and they were fasting. So, I mean, you got to give it to those the old guards, because they were doing it when no one else knew what the fuck fasting was about. There was a time in New York when you could actually find really, really, really good colonic experts. I remember there was one. I'll describe it to you, not in those not describe the actual process of what happened, but what I want you to look for if you're looking to do a colonic. And so this was a woman from the old country, meaning Europe. And the machine was that you could, through the clear glass tube, you could see the water going inside of you. And then when they would release it, you could see the water going out. A table colonic is shit. And I'm not being funny when I say it. It's shit. That means you're on a table and all the feces water is going all around your waist, hips, and so forth. That's crap. So make sure that you do your due diligence, because you should be dry as a bone in a colonic room. Okay? And you should be able to see what's coming out of your chibangis. Okay, you should be able to see. Sometimes if you've been a meat eater and you have never done a colonic, you'll see tire treads. I remember them telling me, because my first one was I was 14, and you'll see it looks like tire treads coming out. That's all this stuck shit in your colon. So if you can't do a colonic, then look into doing an enema and get a metal tin can to do your colonic, and make sure that you're using boiled water. I don't care if it's bottled water, but if it's bottled water, make sure it doesn't have fluoride, obviously. Arrowhead puts fluoride in their water, on the side note. And so you want to get probably distilled water. You still want to boil it, and to make sure it's clean of any contamination of any kind, and then let it sit. And then I would use it lukewarm. You can do just a cold, not ice cold, right? A lukewarm, so leave it on the stovetop, and go ahead and put that in a 5-quart bag. And yeah, you're going to be laying down in your bathroom, lock the fucking door, put on some music, read a book. You're going to be in there for a while, let me just tell you. If you want to add salt, Celtic salt, only the men should do that. Women can't handle it. For the most part, women cannot handle salt. I'm one of the few women I know that can handle salt, where I get massive benefits. And it gives you massive power. But women lose their fucking minds. And I remember my twin taught me that as well. And so for women, you want to put, maybe if you want a little bit of apple cider vinegar, like a little bit, like go easy, because you will feel the toxins. You'll feel like chills running through your body as you're releasing and purging from your body. Okay. For the men, you want to do the Celtic salt and put that in your boiling water, let it sit, stir it up, and you will feel incredibly powerful. Let me see here. I've only gone 3 days, but you get such a natural high. 3 days is fantastic. Are you kidding? Most people can't do fucking 12 hours. They start losing their minds. Tony, are they painful? I found a place near me, but I keep talking to myself out. No, they're not painful. Can I tell you a funny story of one of my colonics? So I was having a lot of constipation, like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it was ridiculous. I was in shape. I was running. So because usually when you're running or sprinting, you'll go poop. There's no problem. You will always poop. If you're moving your legs, lifting weights, there's no way. So it was weird. I was getting constipated. So you'll never forget. So here, this is when you know you live in LA. At the time I was living in California. And so I made the appointment, and I didn't know that she didn't have the colonic machines. I was used to growing up in New York, in Europe, and so forth. I didn't know she had a table. It's called a table colonic. And these are the worst fucking, they're a joke. Anyway, guess who was competing with my appointment? You'll never forget. It was Cyndi Lauper. So Cyndi Lauper had come in with her assistant, and her assistant was going to take my appointment. And this colonic person was saying, well, could you just, and I said, I'm not giving up this appointment. I've waited a month. Are you fucking kidding me? I haven't pooped in damn near 2 weeks. No way am I giving up my appointment. So Cyndi Lauper was in the other room. I was in the other room on the table, colonic. And of course, thank God I was wearing white jeans, and Cyndi Lauper gave me kind of a dirty look, like I gave a fuck for that appointment. And she was wearing all black. Anyway, long story short, I didn't know that the table colonic, there was just so much you could clean after you were done. And it was the worst colonics, session I've ever had in my life. But it didn't do the trick. And sometimes what they do is they put a final, what they call an implant of probiotics in your wazoo. And I put on my white pants, and I came out. My husband picked me up, and he said, turn around. I looked down, and there was still, I don't want to be feces always. And I started laughing, going, she's wearing all black. She'll never see it. Anyway, long story short, that's my evil side. Anyway, but worst colonic, you do not want to lay down where you are going to release the water around your body. Okay. So what you want to look for is a table where they insert the, in your wazoo. You're laying sideways, usually on the side of your liver. And then you're going to see the tube going back and forth where water's being put in to you. And then you'll go, oh my God, stop. And then they'll say, okay, hold on. And if they're good, they're going to start massaging your stomach like it's bread. They're going to knead your stomach like it's bread. Now, the best colonic was this little old lady that was like 75 years old. She was 5 foot, weighed probably 80 pounds. And that woman was treating my stomach like she was pounding into it. Best colonic ever. Colonics, I remember my first ever when I was 14, I went on the scale. They had you go on the scale before, and then after, I lost 4 pounds of feces. When John Wayne died, they said that there was 48 pounds of feces in his colon. 48 fucking pounds. Imagine that, walking around with that. So colonics and enemas in a fast are really important. So you got to look it up, okay? The ones I saw are these amazing bathtubs, and you sit up, it seems. No. How much salt? No. They're not bathtubs. No. It's a no. Okay? Look for the colonic where you're seeing the tube, and you're sitting on the side, and there's never one drop of water coming out of your, not one is coming out of your, you know what? Not one. That's how contained it is. It's all contained. Nothing ever drips out of you. You walk out dry as a bone. Anything that gets you wet, anything that has you sitting in your own, micro feces, no, it's a fucking no. And they're not going to take care of you like they're supposed to. So listen to what I'm saying, okay? Because I've had many types of colonics all over the world, and I can tell you what the good ones are, and the good ones all share what I just said, and the ones that are having you doing this and that, they're I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong with these people. Probably because the machine I'm talking about is fucking expensive. It's probably very expensive, okay? Most likely. How much salt? I don't know. Salt to taste like the ocean. So imagine it tastes like the ocean, so that it tastes good to you. It's not overly salty, or else it's too much salt. Okay? And you're going to have a shift of consciousness. And I'm not funny. I'm not making a joke when I say that. I remember doing a salt enema, and it felt like somebody, not to be graphic, and it's funny. Enemas can be funny, let me just say. It felt like, so my twin was saying, how are you doing? I said, I feel like somebody just literally shoved their hand off my wazoo and pulled everything out. He went, good, you're doing good. And I was like, I think I am. So I think I'm doing good. When I came out, I was glowing, smiling. I looked in the mirror. It looked like I had lost 2 to 3 pounds of water from my face alone, and my body felt like I just, boom, dumped all this bloating out of me. So I used to do it to actually control bloat. Let me see. Wow, 48 pounds. I know celebs have said 20 pounds. He had 48 pounds in his, I'll look at it in a minute. I can't look at it now, unfortunately. I'm driving, but I've been trying to prepare for fasting. I know it's a mental fucking, it's a mind fuck. Prepare for fasting is a mind fuck. And you have to prepare for it. And my twin used to say, you prepare for fasting as a mind fuck, and you have to prepare for it. And my twin used to say, you have, is my mentor. Even though he's no longer here in the physical, I know he's walking beside me on doing it. And the fact that I'm sharing this journey with you is you guys are helping me out, and I'll help you out in any way I can. Just post, just say, did it 24 hours, did it 36 hours, did it 48 hours, did it 72 hours, and I'll help you out in any way I can. Just post, just say, did it 24 hours, did it 36 hours, did it 48 hours, did it 72 hours. Just sorry, I'm getting all kinds of phone calls right now. I don't know why. Let me see, anything else. I'm driving, but I've been, okay. So just get your head together. Just, talk to yourself, talk to your angels, talk to your guides, ask them for guidance. And if you can do one day, it's a fucking win. It's a win-win. So Wednesday night at 9 p.m. is your last meal. And Thursday at 9 p.m. is you've just hit 24 hours. Okay? If you can do it until midnight, and you decide I'm losing my mind, just if you're going to lose your mind, make sure it's either grapes or steamed asparagus. Just, you know what I mean? Just do that. Don't do anything crazy. Please don't break out the fucking steaks and shit, because it will hurt you. You will feel like you've just collapsed. Like, don't do that, okay? So just prepare with how you're going to break it, and you'll be fine. Drink water through in between, correct? Well, I mean, I used to carry mason jars of my concoctions to my work, for example. I would actually, mason jars, or I had a big ass container, like a jug, a massive jug, and I'd have one in the car, just in case I needed more water. And that's how I just gauged it. I just would pour it into a glass and drink. And if you want tea, I would also do peppermint tea in a cup of water. That was it. No sweetener, nothing. Do not use any sweetener, none. If you need to sweeten it, you can use fennel tea with the peppermint bag, fennel, or licorice tea. Those two are natural sweeteners, and you can use those. In fact, fennel is really good for bad breath, because typically bad breath isn't always coming from the mouth. It's not always halitosis. It's not always a rotten tooth. It's not always, that kind of thing. Bad breath, like intense bad breath, usually comes from the stomach. And so for the first, and I had that problem for a while, like way back, like in 2013. And I would actually buy fennel seeds, like, and keep it in a jar. And just like some people use breath mints, I would eat fennel. So you can grind the fennel, right, in your coffee grinder and put it in your tea it'll be all powdered up. And if you want to do that, or you can buy fennel tea bags. And, but when you get off the fast, if you want to get into the habit of chewing in fennel, I used to chew fennel all the time, and I've never had bad breath I don't have morning breath. Let's put it that way. One of the things I do not have is morning breath at all. Okay. The only time you start having bad breath, to be blunt, is during the fast, because all the shit's coming out of you. And so at that point, fennel tea would probably help with that if you want to add a tea. For some people, they really need their coffee, or else they'll lose their mind. And so I would say organic coffee, make sure there's no mold, this and that, and you are going to drink it black. Coffee press, black, no bullshit, no sugar, no bullshit, just black. And as a matter of fact, one of my fasts, that's what I did. I was like, I can't give up coffee. Fuck, I need it. And that's what got me into the habit of drinking coffee black. And I've been drinking coffee black when I do drink coffee ever since black. There's never, I don't want anything in it. Okay. So, yeah, I'm not big on coffee enemas at all. So, wow. So detox can give you very, very, very bad breath. No honey is going to be so hard. No, the only honey is going to be in your 32 ounce of water. So if it's hard for you, then put 1 teaspoon of honey in your 32 ounce of container of water, and lemon juice, like a half a lemon juice, or a whole lemon if you want. And you're going to put some cayenne, and that combination gets you going. So that's what I'm doing. But for you guys, juice will help you. So the apple to the celery and cucumber, and Rachel was saying watermelon. You can do a whole combination of fun, not too much juice, fruit juice, mostly. Try to go mostly with vegetable juice, adding an apple, pear, or watermelon to sweeten it, to give you a sense of, yeah, this is good. I can do this, So you choose how you're going to do it. There's no pressure. You can say when you report, I did a water fast for 36 hours with the combination of this. You can, share it. I did a juice fast. You're all winners. Okay, no one's losing here. Does that make sense? Okay. Wow. So detoxing can give you bad breath. Or agave is what Dr. Sebi recommended. I would never do agave. Never. Because agave was being totally sold for the diabetic population, and it turned out to be shit. I would actually go with molasses, not molasses, excuse me, maple syrup. Maple syrup or honey. Maple syrup is what a lot of the vegans use. They will not use honey at all. A true vegan does not use honey, just on the side note. A true vegan will use maple syrup. Or molasses, blackstrap molasses. It's up to you. But do not, I don't know about agave in terms of, I've had friends who were diabetic, who were all about agave. I used it in the early 2000s, and I was getting headaches and not feeling well. And it turned out that there's something in it. And plus it can be mixed with corn syrup. We don't have standards. Okay, so the kind of honey I'm talking about isn't the honey bear in the honey. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's a discussion on honey. I get organic honey. It's fucking not cheap. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's downstairs, but it's hard. So you want honey from a honey keeper, meaning where there's, you know what I'm saying? Like if you can, like if you have like, of a person that's selling honey personally, then buy it from them, right? But the honey I get is like organic, raw, and it's stuck. In other words, there's no mixing of any bullshit. We don't have standards in this country, okay? It can say honey, and they do all kinds of additives. So be careful with the honey. Do not get the honey in the honey bear container. Don't get honey that just pours out normally, because true honey, unless you're getting honey from a beekeeper, it's being poured directly into the jar to you. But I get the honey that's almost, it feels like it's, what's the word? It feels like not pudding, but it feels like, what is it? Harder, right? It's harder. It's crystallized, I guess is the term. I'm trying to find the word for that. But if that's so complicated, I would just get, especially if you're the East Coast, you can get maple syrup, just get maple from the maple tree. That's all it is. It's maple. That's it. Okay. And that's how you can sweeten the water. I just finished my fast, but this is for diet or spiritual exercise. In Oregon, we have a lot of honey keepers. You're very lucky, so I would just go work with one. God damn it. What about hibiscus tea? Yeah, any teas. As long as it's not a black tea. You know what I mean? As long as it's not a black tea. The thicker, the better. Yes, thank you. Honey is raw, not pasteurized. Yes. Right. I just finished my fast, but this is for diet or spiritual exercise. No, I mean for me, it's for spiritual exercise, and it's for purification of my body. It's for retraining my body to be what it used to be. It's for somatic healing. In a fast, you can start crying. I remember I was following a girl who went into the woods. I mean, obviously she was rich, okay, and she was very rich, but she went into the forest to fast on water for 28 days. And she was just like literally crying and crying and crying. And she was doing a lot of somatic purging, not even being able to articulate what was happening with her, but there was a massive purge. So, fasting is interesting. It can bring up stuff that you cannot articulate. However, you know that you're going through a massive detoxing of the spirit, of the mind, and of the body. Okay? And that's why all of the great avatars would fast, to be honest. From Yeshua to Buddha, they all fasted, right? There is a process to Ramadan for the Muslim people. They fast. And there is a spiritual win-win for that. There is a process to Ramadan for the Muslim people. They fast. And there is a spiritual win-win for that, right? There is, and it puts you in a state of being able to focus on other things, right? So let me see what else. I didn't know you were in Oregon. I'm in Eugene, Oregon, right by the stadium. No, I'm not in Oregon, but somebody else is. Livy is in Oregon. Livy is in Oregon. She mentioned I'm in Oregon. It came Mary. I'm okay, guys. So you guys are connecting. Fantastic. Good. Any questions or comments on the fasting that we're looking to do? If you not sure, check with your doctor, check with whoever the hell you need to check with. Honestly, I'm not a medical doctor. We're just putting together that as a tribal thing. I'm not an expert on any of this shit. I'm giving you what I've learned. It's my journey. The documentaries I've mentioned, again, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dying. That's a good movie to watch, a documentary to watch to prep yourself so you can figure out how to fast if you're going to use vegetables. It will inspire the fuck out of you. And then Eating the Sun. Well, I mean, they're not fucking eating anything. So I wish I could turn you on to Fasting, which was a documentary on the Russian system of fasting. I wish I could give you that, but good luck in finding it. It used to be on Amazon Prime, and it's now crickets. I don't know if it's some kind of ban, boycotting because of Putin or whatever bullshit it is. But in Russia, you can ask for the government to send you to a fasting clinic, and they will take your blood tests every day to make sure that you're in the right, zone to continue your fast. Yeah. And their fast, some people go in there fasting 40 days and it's paid by their government. The concept of keeping people healthy before they get sick is something that is accepted all over the world except here. Here, pharma and insurance make money. So that's the problem. Okay? Yep, they're blocking us from knowledge. Appreciate you, goddess. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate you. So any other questions or comments? I mean, my whole goal is to, when I get to Europe, to be my Butterfield 8 weight. Many of you know what that means and many of you don't. But that's what I'm looking to do. I got to get back in shape. I've got to be in my confidence and but my confidence to walk, to run up hills like I used to, things like that. My twin was 66 and he'd have a 40-pound backpack and he could run at a slow jog up hills. That came from fasting, being a vegetarian, working with herbs, ginseng. In fact, I just bought some Siberian ginseng because they didn't have anything else. It's excellent for men, excellent for the libido, for all of that to work really well, for the lingam to work excellent. And if you are a man, you know what I'm talking about. In the morning, you go, bang, here we go. Good morning, my friends. But for Siberian ginseng for women, gives you power. So hibiscus, definitely, if you have high blood pressure, my God, you should be drinking hibiscus tea all day long. That should be your drink, your favorite drink. And mixing it with rose petals, by the way, on the side note, to give you that beautiful heart chakra, like calmness in your heart. So when I do teas, I do all kinds of shit in a pot. There's all kinds of herbs going there. Siberian eleuthera. There's Japanese knotweed. There's the blue lotus flower, right? There's what else? There's fennel. There's all kinds of stuff. Mint, right? There's dandelion, and I let it steep for like hours. I don't care. I'll stay in there. I don't care if it gets as thick as a syrupy type of drink, and I will strain it and drink it, and it's good. So I'm really excited that you guys, many of you, are joining, and you're all winners. And it doesn't matter how long you do it for. Me, same. Okay, me too. Same. These mountains here in Oregon are rough. I need to shape up. Yeah. Yeah, you need to be able to run up hills. You need to be able to have some power. And age is not a factor, okay, at all. It's not. That's what I learned with my twin. Is I got to see a man who was 15 years older than me, who looked like he was in his late 40s, early 50s. And then when he got sick, yeah, age caught up with him. There's no doubt. But while he was fasting, running, jogging, hiking, lifting weights just he would be an animal, lifting weights, boxing. We would box. So we were boxing 5 days a week. We were going to the gym, lifting weights. Right now I don't have a gym to go to, so I'm doing what I can, walking, things of that nature. So it's like, it's interesting when you stop eating, how much time you have to do all these other things. Like you could start writing your book. It's amazing how much time we spend preparing food. So I would suggest, if you're going to commit to this and you need to have some juice, the only thing I would say is, if you do buy pineapple juice, make sure you juice it right before you're going to drink it, because you want all those good enzymes. And that would be for all juices. But if you're really a person that's going to lose their mind and just go for the crackers, unless you have something prepared, then prepare some of your juices. I would say to do that. Me, what I do the night before is I prepare a pitcher already set up. So I go downstairs. The first thing I do is drink 2 glasses. And I'm all set. There's no excuse. There's no, oh my God, I've got to do this. It's already been done. I've prepped it for the night before, for that morning. Okay. I followed you. We'll start this past Wednesday, 9 a.m. or even earlier. No, it was 9 p.m. 9 p.m. on Wednesday. But if you want to start Wednesday at 9 a.m., that's cool. But we're starting 9 p.m. on Wednesday, last meal. And then Thursday at 9 p.m. makes it a 24-hour fast. It is what it is. Okay? Any other questions or comments? Beautiful memories, yes. We had some good times. We had a lot of good times. Fasting was very bonding. I think I impressed the shit out of him, because it's not like he didn't have girlfriends in the past. I mean, he'd had some girlfriends, actually none of them would fast. They would at most fast like 12 hours. And so we were twins. So what he could do, I could do. What he could do, I could, vice versa. So there was that in terms of strength of will. But I have to say that he was much stronger on some aspects, because for him, like, I can't cook a meal for someone while I'm fasting. I will start getting physically violent with other people. Like, there's no way. So when I used to fast those long days, the nice thing to be with a partner who's fasting with you is there's nothing to worry about. No one's cooking shit to sabotage your fucking consciousness. I'm in a situation where, unfortunately, and this is not their fault at all, but my son lives with me right now, and he cooks every day. And so I'm going to have to deal with it, and just deal with it, and maybe light some incense. So if you have a roommate situation, what I used to do also, and this is going to be hard for some of you, is if you have a gym membership and they're going to cook in the house, if I were you, I would go to the gym and leave the fucking scene of the crime of them cooking, and go to a gym to go on a treadmill, and then call them and go, are you done? Can you light some incense? Great. Okay, I'm coming back in. I used to power walk, and that's what I would do when I lived in California. I would just power walk, hang out, go to the bookstore, and when they were done cooking and doing all this shit, I'd say, do you mind making sure that I don't smell it when I come in? And for me personally, that's how hard fasting was for me, just so you know. But some of you could cook a whole fucking 4-course meal and be fine. Everyone's different. So, any other questions or comments? Are you good? Yeah. Any other questions or comments? So, just whatever you can do. Whatever you can do. It could be the beginning of you being able to intermittent fast. It's interesting too, because you have to, what's funny about this is that 20 years ago, if you told people, oh my God, you must eat, you have to eat, you cannot go without food. And now, and there were, Arnold Ehrhart was born in the 1800s in, I think it was the German part of Switzerland, I believe. But he was talking about fasting and being a fruitarian back in those days. And if you look at a picture of his face and his eyes, he's a poster child of that. It's amazing. Amazing. His eyes are bright and shiny, and they're either gray, blue, or green. I don't even know because it's a black and white photo. But I remember my twin was 19 years old, went into a bookstore, and they had, I guess, a shelf of his books of Arnold Ehrhart in Rational Fasting. That's what the book is called. And he looked at one look in that man's face, and that's what actually made him into a vegetarian on the spot and made him go into fasting. He was 19. And he bought the book. And it's interesting because I didn't meet him until I was 18. We have a 15-year difference. And I bought the same book literally when I was 18. I bought Dr. Bragg's book on fasting, and I bought that book as well on rational fasting. And so me and my mom fasted for, again, 11 days together. And it was, and she broke the fast just with bacon and eggs. Okay. So she, whatever. But the struggle is real. Yeah. She was like, I walk my dogs, great time while fasting. Exactly. I come from a Mexican family, so tamale season, oh fuck. The smells must be amazing. It's like, oh fuck. Yeah, that's tough. But you'll go through it. Even if it's one day, it's a big fucking success. And if you want, one of the things that one of my friends told me about, she had a friend in New York, in the Bronx, who fasted every Friday. She'd fast, okay? And she lost like 40 pounds just fasting one day a week. That was it. And why? Because she shrunk her stomach. And that's another reason why I want to fast, is I've got to shrink my stomach to the point where it's the size of my fist. And the idea of what'll happen after you fast is you'll realize, the longer you fast, you'll realize that to eat more than is appropriate is going to make you want to puke. And so keeping your weight at a certain level is going to be easy when you fast. So there's a lot of benefits to fasting. There's no doubt. I had a friend who was struggling with a boil, and it was a hard boil, and she didn't have the insurance. And from fasting, it actually dissolved. It disappeared, for example, So it's really good. I need to do that one whole day at a time. Yeah, I would just do one day. Yeah, don't go crazy. You know what I mean? Like, just do what you can. But report back. I came upon a YouTube video on fasting, so much information. Yeah, a lot of people, like I said, there's so much benefits, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows about it. In France and Switzerland, there is what they call cure. It's called cure. It means a cure. And this is something that my grandmother would go to and to do a cure. And she would do it 2 weeks out of the year. That was her thing. And she would go into a clinic and where there was fasting, or she would only drink consommé, which was a broth, okay, vegetable broth. And she would eat like barely, and it wasn't to lose weight. It was just to purify. She'd have massages. She'd drink the waters. She would get, special, how can I say it? Like sitting in certain waters that had certain benefits, like salts or whatever. And she would do that for 2 weeks. And the woman never had dementia. She lived till she went 94. And the reason why she died in 94, she should have lived 100 years, was because it was a botched surgery that created all kinds of crap, which eventually she died later on from it. It was a botched, somebody fucked up. Okay, but as long as she was doing that, She was hiking up the mountains of Switzerland until she was in her 80s. I think she was 85 when she broke her hip, and that was kind of like the beginning of the end for her hiking. But up until she was 85, she was walking like a goat up mountains for an hour in her 80s. And it had a lot to do with the fact that she was doing these kules, these retreats for 2 weeks, and getting those massages and so on and so forth. And it's not that it's cheap, but it's not out of this world. In other words, I'm not sure how much they cost, to be honest with you, but I know that she wouldn't have done it if it was, out of her league financially. So, but that's what kept her going, and her mind was as sharp as a tack. I mean, she never had issues. So yeah, I start with 12 hours. Yeah, that's what I would do. And some people will do a whole day, and some people will do 12 hours, and some people will do 3 days, and it's all win-win. And so what we might want to do for the rest of the year, if you want to, I'll invite you to do this. Think about it, because I need help, honestly, because I've been unable to do it without my twin, and with the grief and all of that, and all of the things that go into 3D worlds, and I've lost, not that this is an excuse, but I've lost 3 people in 3 years. So it's a lot to lose that many people you love suddenly. But what I will say to you is it's a mind fuck. And what happens when you fast is that, I don't know what it is, but it is a clarity of mind. You get clearer, more powerful in the way you're able to maneuver complex challenges. You become even more transcendental. The reason why I've been able to keep it together for the last 4 years is my daily practice of meditation, working on my chakras, and so all of that. But now I have to add these things, which includes power walking and this and that. You know what I mean? Each fast I do is different. I've fasted 3 days, and recently sun up to sundown was a struggle. Yeah, well, it's probably because it's cold, and it's not easy. The best time to fast typically is during the summer when it's warm. Fasting in the summer, eating just fruits in the summer for like a whole week, just eating fruits alone is so fucking easy because it's hot, and it just lends itself to that. Fasting in the winter can be a challenge, but I feel as if you're keeping your pots of herb teas going, you're good to go. You'll be warmed up. If you need a consommé, fine. If you really are struggling like a mother, then go ahead and do miso soup, just miso broth with nothing else, just miso, right? And you warm it up, and you put a little cayenne in there, and it'll warm you up in wonderful ways. Okay? I'm lucky that I don't have to show up to work and punch in a clock. But whatever it takes for you guys to survive and just be on those liquids, and that's what you need to do. When the summer hits, you'll be ready and train. You would train yourself, your mind, to start fasting real fast, real intense fast as the summer approaches next year. Yeah? So that'll be good, right? I challenge myself, but I don't beat myself up. Summer, I can do whatever, only in winter, warm teas help. Yeah, right on. Thank you for adding to that, Miss TT. I challenge myself, but I don't beat myself up. Yeah, don't beat yourself up. This is not the time to call yourself a loser, to let your monkey mind fucking take a sledgehammer to you. That is not the purpose of fasting. The purpose of fasting is you're competing with yourself, and you are listening to your internal dialogue, and you're actually witnessing how your ego wants to sabotage something new that makes it uncomfortable. And so your job is to sit and watch. You know what I mean? To be aware, okay, of what's going on. Does that make sense? Because when there are people who are in situations where when they are in grief, they become incredibly skinny because of grief, and some people just gain weight. Some people go back into their habits of drinking. Some people go heavy into other things, right? And so if you're on medication, like let's say you're on various medications, I'm not kidding. Make sure you check with your doctor into a fast. And probably the person might say no, but so find out if you can do a juice fast. Because if you're taking medications, right, the whole thing about medications, which I'm not going to go into too much, but let me put it this way. I'm on no medications. My twin, when he was diagnosed with brain cancer, okay, he was under no medications. They were shocked. people our age are on at least 2 to 3 medications. Okay. So, and this is not to judge you or to belittle you. It's to say, if you are under medications, understand that there's a price you're paying for that. So make sure that you're able to fast with the medication you're using. Okay, make sure that it's going to be okay. It's not going to be a drag. I realize breaking a fast slowly with fruit is so important instead of jumping straight into a meal. Yeah, you cannot. You will get sick. Oh my goodness, so right. Once I get past 5 to 7 days, I get rid of the mucus. Also, after 4 days, I'm still having bowel movements. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I love food, but I want this. I know, me too. I love food. Don't get me wrong. But you know what's been happening? Like, food is not giving me the nectar. Like, I'm tasting food going, and that's one of the reasons why I overeat, to be honest with you. I'll look for nectar, and finally I'm realizing there is no nectar in this food. There's no nectar. And a lot of you are realizing, us who live in America, we're realizing that they are really, really fucking up with our food. And I don't care who you voted for it. I don't give a shit. But thank God for Kennedy, because they need their asses kicked. The FDA needs its ass kicked. And so does this whole system with the fucking food chain. Okay? They have fucked with our food until bread. Just, do you know how much I love bread? I can't eat bread in this country. I get, my whole bowels are inflamed. Like, it literally hurts my bowels. Apparently, the flour, the things we use to make bread is not recognizable as bread in the rest of the world. In other words, we don't know what we're eating. When we're having a sandwich, God knows what the fuck is that. So if I were you, which I've been doing, and I'm not making bread, by the way, at all right now, but to make, say, cakes or to make pancakes or whatever, right? If I were you, I would buy either French flour or Italian flour. And Whole Foods, not that I trust the evil empire, but Whole Foods does have Italian flour. If you go on Amazon, they used to sell a French flour that was organic from France. And in France, I don't know about the Italians, honestly. I'm not totally convinced with their system because I've lived there and I know the game. But in France, they're a pain in the fucking ass. For anything. So if it's Dijon mustard, it cannot be called Dijon unless it's from Dijon, France. Okay, to give you an idea of what a pain in the ass they are. So when they say that flour is organic, you bet your ass it's fucking organic. You bet your ass there's no GMO. You bet, because they have gone through rigorous bullshit to put those labels on their flour, for example. So if you have a bread machine, you can get the French yeast. I would highly suggest it. Get your French flour. That would be my first choice. My second choice would be Italian flour, my second. And that's what I would do. Try to get French bread. I don't know what they're doing with the Irish butter, though I love it. I think probably Irish butter is probably way better than our butter, to be honest. The other thing, then after the Irish butter would be goat milk butter, which is way, way better for you, goat butter. I used to give it to my son because it was more easily digestible. Goat milk, for example, things of that nature. You get where I'm going from, right? So if you're going to make yourself pancakes, let's say, right? Go ahead and make it with those flours. Go ahead and use that butter. Go ahead and make sure the olive oil you use, if you use olive oil, by the way, on the side note, make sure that it's only one ingredient. It's only one country on the olive oil. I learned that recently. Again from TikTok. It said if it has all the names of different countries combined as Mediterranean olive oil, bullshit. If it says Tunisian olive oil, then it's probably all olive oil. If it says Greece, from Greece, then you can bet that it's all that from that country, and it's probably good olive oil. The other thing is to consider buying a French walnut oil or anything from another country. You're going to have to get smart. Like I had to go in between all kinds of different challenges of realizing and having to be honest with myself and saying, yeah, this is actually making me bloat. This is actually making me sick. And that's part of the reason why I'm starting to go into this fast. Let me see what else you guys have to say. I really want to hear it. The flour they use in UE is so expensive to get here as well. It is, but they used to have the French flour in Amazon, and to be honest, I can't find it. I was smart enough to get the yeast from France, and I have the yeast in case I'm ready to make bread. Heritage brand. I do comedy skit with a white loaf of bread. I can squash it in 2 minutes. It returns to shape. Yes. There was a guy who was buying bread from this particular company. They were having the bread sent to them. Yeah, I guess it was a nice company. That was a bread making company. And he took a slice. He said, this doesn't taste the same. This was like, I saw that video like 3 years ago. And he said, that doesn't taste the same. Do you know what he did with that slice of bread? He ended up washing the sink, washing the toilet, washing the bathtub. It was like a week later, it was still together. That's insane. That's absolutely the most upsetting thing I can tell you. After that, I was like, wait. So all the brands that I trusted, I was like, what the fuck is, what's in there? So I'd rather do like a non-bread type of thing using those flours. For example, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather do that. And I even tried buying like sourdough bread, and it was seeing those flours. For example, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather do that. And I even tried buying like sourdough bread, and it was still shit. So anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I hope this helps. Go ahead and report back. Again, we're starting at 9 p.m. I'm gonna let you go. I hope this helps. Go ahead and report back. Again, we're starting at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. That's your business, right? So from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., that's 12 hours, right? And then when you go into 9 a.m. the following morning, you've done your 24 hours. And if you want to quit, and I don't mean quit like in a bad way. I mean, if you want to stop, all good. If you want to continue, then you continue. But we are starting, officially, all of us are starting at 9 p.m. on Wednesday. That's our last meal. And by Thursday of 9 p.m., we're on a 24-hour cycle. And all of us are starting at 9 p.m. on Wednesday. That's our last meal. And by Thursday of 9 p.m., we're on a 24-hour cycle. And then we go into Thursday. And that's what I have to do. And the fact that I have to be accountable to you, and we have to be accountable to each other to do the best we can, is going to be fantastic. So I really appreciate you joining me on this. It's really helping me. And I'm really excited. Hello. Okay, so any other questions or comments? I'm so happy you guys are here. I'm glad that this is resonating with many of you. It's exciting. What was I looking at here? Celery juice helps my emotion, body process, and purge. It's the release that I have to prep for. I hear you. It is emotional. Fasting is emotional. I started a fast today. Oh, congratulations. How cool is that? Congratulations. Why don't you type in how you started it? Okay? How did you start it? What did you use? That is really cool. We're starting on Thursday because Thursday at 9 p.m. because Wednesday at 9 p.m. because Thursday we kick in. You're still going to work. Friday, you're still going to work. It's tough. Don't get me wrong. And then Saturday, Sunday, you can fucking chill. Sunday night, you can stop at 9 and you've done your fasting. Or you can stop in the morning on Monday before you go to work. And you can, like I said, do the asparagus or the grapes, or make sure they're organic grapes. Make sure they're not... There's a type of grape that's called cotton candy grapes. Please don't get that. Not right now. That's too much of a blast of sugar. That's going to make you fucking dizzy and have vertigo. You're better off getting your basic kind of like bitter grapes. Maybe even red grapes would be better. Organic with the seeds in it. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to eat. I get it. But the point is, it'll be a good balance, right? I don't want you to go too crazy. All right? All right. So, any other questions or comments? Any concerns? Believe me, I'm concerned. I'm totally concerned. Because it's going to be, I have to keep my word because I'm accountable now. That's the nice thing about being accountable. Like, you can't back out. You can't just, fuck it, I don't care. You got to say, no, wait, hang on. I'm accountable. All right? So, again, look at videos. You're going to be fun. You're going to realize how many food commercials pop up on your feed. And you're going to realize how brainwashed we are to eating, because you're going to find that TikTok might not be a good idea for you, or YouTube or Instagram, because you'll see food everywhere. Food's going to be like attacking you from all sides. You'll have dreams of food. It's all good. Right? So I'm scared, but not really. I hear you. Fasting's not a joke. Fasting is is you're wrestling with your own demons. You are at the table. You've just come to the table and go, game on, motherfucker. You're wrestling with your demons. Trust me, it is not for the weak of heart. Okay, I love my cup of tea. I drink Earl Grey with honey and a dash of, I'm being honest with you, a dash of cream. Yes, I'm fucking bad. So now I have to do just herb teas and grit my teeth and go one more day, motherfucker. So part of, I'm going to do enemas, just so you know. I'll be spending my time in the bathroom as well, doing enemas, especially for trial in April. I want to be clear-minded and focused. Absolutely. Whatever's coming up, you want to, whatever you're doing this for. And then you can enjoy Thanksgiving dinner with a shrunk stomach, right? Don't start eating like a crazy person, okay? Don't go crazy. One of the ways me and my brother had lost a lot of weight, because this was back like 20 years ago, is, and he lifts weights too. Like everyone around me lifts weights. It's always been like that since I was a kid. But long story short, and you would think I would have like a swimsuit. I don't. Okay, don't get me wrong. I do it for health. I do it for strength. I do it for power. I do it so and I can bend down. I can run up a hill. I can carry shit. None of which I can do right now because I lost my power. So, but going back to this, we would have a cheat weekend. And so, yeah, well, you could lose all your weight or whatever if you're doing this for weight as well to shrink your stomach. You could lose like 40 pounds in 6 months. You could actually, but what about losing 40 pounds in one whole year, and letting yourself cheat and making sure you're cheating smart, not cheating shit, like not cheating with corn syrup or just crap, right? Like cheating with some consciousness. Like, yeah, going to a very expensive patisserie, a bake shop that you really love. You've been dying to get something in there, and you get something that really, really is going to satisfy you in all ways. And cheating like that, you know what I mean? Or making yourself something. What I love about the new vegan generation is that they have a lot of recipes using dates as, you know, right? And different things like, you know, crushing cashews and almonds and making it a base, and then doing vegan cheesecakes or whatever the hell you want to do, right? Not using crust, right? In the regular way, but using nuts as a crust, right? And things of that nature, and mixing it with coconut oil, and then mixing it with a little bit of coconut sugar, for example, and then pouring like this cheesecake. If you decide you want a cheesecake, right? You're not a vegan, you're not a vegetarian. And at that point, at least the crust isn't going to fuck you up. It's made out of nuts. It's fattening as fuck, don't get me wrong, okay? But at least you're getting conscious food in your stomach, right? And even if you make a small one, just enough for, like, it's like four inches in diameter, and you're making it just for yourself. One of the things I would do that I love doing was I would use real butter. And I would use the French flour, and I would make my own crust with cold water. And then I would do apricot jam, and I would cut up my apples in, you know, very thin trenches, like you would see in a French patisserie shop. It's very simple to do. And I would let the apple soak in lemon, right? I would squeeze lemon, mix it with some coconut sugar or pure cane sugar, brown sugar, lay out that on the free-form crust. Add more sugar on top, no butter, no bullshit, you're done. And you throw that in the oven. It's unfucking real. And it is very low calorie, believe it or not. Yeah, the sugar's in there, but it's low calorie, meaning there's not extra butter, there's not Crisco, there's not lard, there's not another level of crust. And it's very satisfying, believe it or not. So sometimes, you know, you want to kind of start researching what you want to do. There's a Mexican tea that literally cleanses you out. I'll send it in the group. Fantastic, my love. I appreciate that. Okay, so any other, send it in the group, and also send it on the fasting post if you want. Go ahead and send that in the fasting post so people can look into that. Any other questions or shares? Any other questions or shares? Okay, my loves.